If the Reds were in the Olympics, they'd have a gold medal for beating up on the Pirates. Good for morale and good to talk about it with Mo Egger. Plus,
nothing to worry about right now, but, need to get going.
All right, let's not panic, everyone. But what's the deal with QB1? Ben Baby will answer that. And 7 games in at the brand new TQL Stadium, still no wins to show for it in front of the home fans. What gives? We'll ask Laurel Phaler.
From WCPO 9 Sports, this is Sports of All Sorts.
What up? Welcome to Sports of All Sorts. I'm Reggie Wilson. Summer is heating up, so that means Bengals training camp is doing the same. We'll have an update coming up later in the show. Never a dull moment with FC Cincinnati. More fireworks off the pitch than on it this week. We'll have a conversation on that in a bit. But let's start on the diamond. Reds playing their best stretch of baseball all season, doing what they're supposed to do against lesser competition. Reds going for the sweep against the Pirates on Joe Morgan Day. Joey Votto still banging in these baseball streets, almost gets it out of there, but his deep drive scores Jesse Winker to tie the game. A little later, Kyle Farmer, he's a rider. The walking blowtorch scorches another to give the Reds a 2-run lead. Tyler Mahle goes 7 strong and the bullpen shuts it down. Reds win 3-2 and Joey Votto is loving it.
I think the thing I'm enjoying the most is how much I'm learning from my teammates, trying to get better as a player, and you can never stop getting better. And having really good teammates that have a lot of experience, a lot of high-end success, it can give you feedback to help your game.
So the Reds have won 5 straight and are a season-high 10 games over 500. That makes our guy Mo Egger just giddy. Hear him every day on ESPN 1530. Mo, how you doing?
I'm great, Reggie. How are you?
Good, good. All right, so it's just good times right now with the Reds. How long do you see them keeping this stellar play up?
You know what? If they can stay healthy, why would we expect anything else? The starting staff is pretty good. I mean, this starting staff is really good, and you add to it what you're getting from Vladimir Gutierrez, who just it feels like he's getting better and better, and he's come up big in so many situations this year. This team offensively, I think we thought coming into the year this team offensively had a lot of potential, but you add to it what Jonathan India has given this team. You add to it what Tyler Stevenson can give this team. Now that they're fully whole, I mean, Suarez started today, but you're bringing off the bench the Venezuelan home run king. How about that? And now that this bullpen, Lucas Sims came back today. TJ Antone is inching closer. They made some moves prior to the deadline. This is a good team. Now, can they catch Milwaukee? Fair enough. If you're wondering if that can legitimately happen, but I think the composition of this team is such that you really have to like the direction things are going.
All right, so with that being said, has your feeling on this team's ceiling changed as the season has gone on? Granted, they did just play the Pirates, but they're getting healthier, as you said. They seem to be a team to be reckoned with.
They really do. And you look, the schedule's a part of this, right? The Cubs aren't very good. The Marlins aren't very good. The Reds play them a bunch. Philadelphia and Atlanta are okay. The Phillies have hit the heck out of the ball since July 1st, so they're going to be formidable. But you kind of feel like if they can just get to those last 3 weeks, they play the Pirates 9 of their last 18 games. The Pittsburgh Pirates legitimately might be the worst baseball team I've ever seen. And I don't say that lightly because I was here for the 2015, 16, 17, and 18 Reds. But no, I mean, look, the composition of this team, we've been wondering all year long, what's it going to look like if this team is healthy? And they're not even there yet. Antone's not back. Senzel's not back. We really haven't seen this team as it was intended. And then you add to that, did we think Jonathan India was going to solve the Reds' 3 decades-long search for a leadoff guy? Did we feel like Tyler Stevenson was going to make us wonder if Tucker Barnhart is disposable? Did we think Joey Votto was going to produce at the level that he has? Did we think Eugenio Suarez was going to be a guy that we thought could come off the bench? All of those things have happened. And so, yes, I think the ceiling has to be raised from what we thought this team was going to be 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Wow. All right, Mo, just to pivot a bit really quickly, Joey Votto spoke eloquently on Joe Morgan today. He called him the best player to ever put on the uniform. How cool is it for a current player to reverence one of the greats like that?
It's great, and it goes to show that, number one, Joe had a connection with some of these guys like Joey Votto. Joe Morgan was around a lot, and if you were at the ballpark today, you saw the video tribute they did. That wasn't just limited to highlights of him in the 70s. You saw photos, you saw footage of him interacting with not just players on the current roster, but members of the community that are active and involved with the Reds Community Fund right now. What I really hope has happened here is from a baseball standpoint, purely from a baseball standpoint. I hope this has made people realize how good of a player we're talking about. You know, there's a lot of folks, myself included, who believe the 75 and 76 Reds were the greatest teams of all time. Joe Morgan was the National League MVP, playing for both of those teams, on teams that included Rose and Bench and Foster and Concepcion and Griffey, right on down the line. But yeah, I think it's great that the members of the current team, Joey being chief among them, have a degree of reverence for a guy who certainly in his life deserved it, and certainly after his passing undeniably deserves it.
Absolutely. A great showing from the team, great reverence from Joey there, respecting the vets. We love to see it. We always love to see you on the show, Mo. I appreciate you taking the time as always.
Reggie, visit me in studio. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
We are doing this. The Power Hour, Mo Egger,
Done.
Reggie Wilson.
Yes.
We're
not
doing
going to
this.
talk about the Cardinals. We're not going to talk about St.
Why
Louis.
not?
Just because I'll have to speak slowly. But yes, you and I in studio together.
All right, we're making that happen. Mo, appreciate you coming
Reg.
on, always.
You got it, man.
Take care. All right, another season, yet another transition at the top for FC Cincinnati. Coming up, a change in the front office, but not much change on the pitch with the orange and blue. Welcome back. A big move for FC Cincinnati on Friday. The club parts ways with general manager Gerard Nijkamp. They said it's a mutual move, and even Nijkamp himself said in a statement, "While this has been an exciting opportunity, I've decided to pursue positions closer to my family. I wish the team the best moving forward." Club president Jeff Birding talked about the decision.
He helped us build a foundation that positions us for success in the future. We need to have the success on the pitch that is aligned with the success we have with our stadium. We think the best stadium in the country, and we think we have the best fan base in the country, and we want to have the best team in the country.
All right, let's transition to the pitch. FC Cincinnati going for their first win at TQL Stadium, hosting Orlando City Saturday. This helps. Brenner scores his fourth goal of the season. Orange and Blue leads 1-0. All they had to do was just hold on, but in the 56th minute, Orlando ties it up. I feel like we say this every week, but plenty of missed opportunities for FCC, and it's another draw for the third straight match, 1-1.
Goal that they make, we made a mistake ourselves, so we give it away basically. And then afterwards we have still good opportunities to score. I think better than what they had. Couldn't finish it off.
It's becoming a weekly conversation with Laurel Pfahler from the Queen City Press. Laurel, thanks again for hanging out with me. Yet another match full of missed opportunities, and it's led to now 3 straight matches ending in a draw. What's going on?
It's Groundhog's Day. I mean, it is 4 straight draws at home, too. If you go back to their last 4 home matches, they all ended in draws, and it does feel like the same thing. You know, yesterday, I feel like the 3 games before that, the offense was kind of disappearing a little bit. I do think that there were better chances last night in that game, especially at the end. You saw Isaac Katanga go one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Really, that could have been the game winner right there. He seemed a little indecisive, tried to go around the keeper and ended up dribbling it into him. You know, Brenner's goal was fantastic. So you like to see that, and just the way that one came together. And you saw other chances that were similar to that just didn't come together. So I think that was a sign of some progress. And you're finally seeing what they're trying to do and working the ball around and making those good decisions. You know, they've just got to be more consistent with it, and obviously start putting more goals in the back of the net. So, you know, they do have a 10-day break now, so it's a chance to kind of recover a little bit. I think the legs were starting to get a little tired with all those games coming together and not a lot of rotation in the squad. So that 10 days is a good break for them, and hopefully they can kind of figure things out, figure out how to get over that hump.
Biggest news of this week, Gerard Nijkamp and the club parting ways. They said it was mutual. How did this come about?
I actually do think it was coming together a little bit more than it seemed. I mean, it seemed like a reaction from the summer window, which closed on Thursday night. And, they only got 2 players in. Jaap Stam has been making comments about needing more players. He also wasn't happy that players weren't brought in sooner in the window when he really needed them, when, like Alan Cruz and Ronald Matarrita were away for the Gold Cup. So I think that it seemed to a lot of people that it was just a reaction to that. Thinking back on some past conversations I had with Gerard, I think he knew that he needed to have a good transfer window. When I talked to him at the end of June, he made some comments about, not knowing how long he was going to be with the team, and he really wanted to make a mark. And you can kind of look back on that and wonder if he kind of saw this coming a little bit. He did spend a lot of the transfer window time in Europe trying to scout players, but his family is still in Holland. So, it very much could have been a mutual thing where he felt like he had done as much as he could do here and maybe wanted to get back to his family. But I don't think it was just a last minute decision, we're going to part ways. I think it came together a lot over a period of time that we just, maybe weren't realizing what was going on behind the scenes.
So now moving forward, what does the team do without him?
Well, they do have opportunities to still bring in players through free agency. If they don't need an international transfer certificate moved in, which has to be done during a transfer window, that window has closed. But free agents who are not attached to a club can still sign with FC Cincinnati up until the roster freeze September 15th. So that's going to be on Hunter Freeman and the scouting department, and being overseen by Jeff Birding, the president of the club. So they do still want to try to bring some more bodies in, but obviously the focus now is on trying to find a replacement. They're not going to want to wait until the end of the season to have a GM in place when they need to make those roster decisions for 2022. So they're going to be working hard to bring someone in, and they are looking for someone with MLS experience. I think that's something they learned from bringing in Gerard, who spent a good part of his first 2 years here just learning the roster rules that come along with MLS, the salary cap and how you manage that. That's something he didn't have to do in Holland. So it's a big change for anyone coming in that doesn't have that MLS experience. So I think that is definitely something they learned.
Laurel, big picture now, where do you see things going for FCC the rest of the way?
A home win is the thing that's really missing. They are the only team in MLS right now that does not have a home win. And we have seen them be competitive. They are competing in games that they maybe would have lost in the past. Orlando was second place in the Eastern Conference. That's a quality point that they got against that team. But those points are, like we've talked about in the past, those points are going to come back to haunt them at some point. So they need to start, especially with a lot of home games coming up down the second half of the season, which we are now officially in the second half of the season. So those home wins have to start coming. They have to figure out how to channel that energy from the crowd, because the crowd is still coming. We're still seeing good attendance, good vibes from the crowd, and they've got to learn to channel that energy, I guess, and finish off some of those goals that are eluding them.
Hopefully this 10-day break helps. Since they get a break, I guess we will too. But as always, it's great talking soccer with you. We'll do it again soon.
Thank you. Always appreciate you having me on.
The Bengals defense is balling so far in training camp. The offense, not so much. Ben Baby will tell us what's going on next. Welcome back. There's a saying that goes, the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak. For Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, it may be the other way around right now. As the season approaches, he says he needs to get going. Burrow is still recovering from the devastating knee injury that ended his rookie campaign and acknowledged the need to get the physical and mental side of his game back in sync. He's notably struggled early on in training camp, but had a strong day Saturday. Burrow wants to improve his ability to feel pressure in the pocket again. The season opener against the Vikings is still a month away, so Burrow hopes to get that confidence back before then, but it's a process.
It's frustrating right now, more so just not feeling like myself. And I know I've put the work in to make my knee feel good, make my body ready for the season. It's just now trusting my abilities, trusting my work, trusting everything.
You know who we trust? Our guy, Ben Baby, ESPN Bengals reporter. Ben, always great to talk to you. Joe Burrow hasn't looked the best out there, but looked stronger this weekend. Any reason to be concerned for Bengals fans?
No, I think it's still a little too early to get in a full-blown panic about what Burrow's going to look like. I think, we've become used to seeing Burrow just really be ahead of schedule throughout this whole rehab process, the whole recovery process. Even when he got into the league, he didn't look like a rookie from day one. He came out and just kind of set the world on fire immediately and played pretty well, which was surprising given his lack of experience in the NFL. And this is kind of the first time where we're kind of reminded, okay, it's not as easy as Burrow always makes it out to look. And he's definitely struggled in practice. The offense has struggled with him under center as he's trying to find that consistency and rhythm. And I thought on Friday, it was telling that he went after practice to go work with Dan Pitcher and some of the assistants on trying to simulate pass rushes, trying to get used and getting maybe a little bit more comfortable with guys running around him as he's throwing. And so this is kind of what training camp and practice is for. This is why you work really hard in the offseason during the rehab process to get ready and be healthy for right now so that he has the time he needs to get ready for week one.
We talked about that defense last week. A lot of chatter about how good that unit looks, how good Jesse Bates looks. You mentioned how they haven't played any other competition yet, but early return seems like the defense may be taking a step.
Yeah, it appears to be that way. It's still, tough to gauge. And when you look at it, if the offense is playing poorly, that has to mean the defense is playing well. Both of those things have to be true in that case. And so, we are seeing, maybe the Bengals have some depth at cornerback that they've been looking for quite some time. And Chidobe Awuzie, who they got from the Cowboys in free agency, he's been playing pretty well, had some good reps. Eli Apple, who's going to be a depth corner, he's had some good moments as well. Logan Wilson, Jesse Bates, like you said, and even the defensive ends, who I think they're going to be a lot of pressure on those guys, Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard. They've been pretty impressive so far. Sam Hubbard gave rookie Deontay Smith all he could handle on Tuesday, which was right before Joe Burrow got his off day. And then, Hendrickson has been disruptive at times as well, and that's actually been pleasantly surprising to see if you're a Bengals fan. So, the defense looks like it is, making strides, making improvements, but how much of that is because Burrow is taking, maybe a little bit longer to find that rhythm and consistency that we're used to. And really, once Burrow starts humming, then we'll get a better sense of what the defense is going to look like.
Lastly, Ben, you are a man of the people, and the people want to know, what's your update on running back Joe Mixon?
Well, I know that people are very curious for many reasons as to how good Mixon's going to look. How does that foot feel? And by all accounts, and, we talked to Joe yesterday for the first time since he has suffered the injury against Indianapolis last year. And you could tell he was really excited. He came in the room, had a smile on his face. He looked as happy as he does on the practice field. And so far in practices, he's showing a lot of burst. He's moving around okay. I know that he had that ankle injury that, Coach Taylor referenced a couple of days ago. But right now, Joe looks to be at 100%. And what's interesting is kind of how they're using him. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Joe Mixon in the passing game a little bit more, and maybe they use him, split out and not just in the backfield as well. And that will be an interesting dynamic. And, it was interesting that Mixon acknowledged that there is a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. There is a lot of burden on him to not only perform well, but to do a lot of things well for this team, whether that be in pass blocking or that be in pass catching, and then also being effective in the run game. Joe Mixon understands he has to do all of these things. And I think that burden is something that he's kind of eager to take on.
Appreciate you taking the time, Ben. Plenty of football to talk about, so, we'll catch up soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Reggie.
So I want to hear from you. What are you expecting from Joe Burrow? Will he take a step forward, or will he endure that rugged sophomore slump as he works his way back to form from the injury? Tweet me at Reggie Wilson TV and make sure to use the hashtag SOAS. All right, we'll be right back to wrap up the show. Welcome back. Coming up after the show is In Depth with Graham Benzinger. What's on tap tonight, Graham?
Hey, Reggie. This week we spend 2 days in Portugal with Maya Gabeira. The legend surfed 2020's biggest wave and opens up about the crash that nearly took her life.
The only sensation I still had was hearing, because that's the last one you lose before dying.
Plus, how she's breaking gender barriers.
I had to really fight for what I believed.
And a lesson out on the water. All that's coming up next and in depth right here on WCPO 9 News.
All right, thanks, Graham. Looking forward to that one. Well, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun, but we got to go. I'd like to thank my guests Mo Egger, Laurel Failer, and Ben Baby for joining me tonight. And thank you to my village who helped me put this all together. Thank you for watching. Let's do it again next Sunday. Until then, have a good night and a very blessed week.